Okay, guys, so uh, we will be doing for this lesson a quick recap on the if function. Okay, so this will be if function recap. Okay, so this is our first lesson. It's basically a recap. We already know what the if function does. We have already done a couple examples, but I decided that, well, it's been 3 weeks since we've actually done any work, so figured we should go back to this and remember what it does. Okay, so um, I'll teach you the f function again uh, through an example. Okay, I think that's the easiest way to state how the if function works. Remember, the if function is going to help us make decisions, right? So something that is very important is that the if function makes decisions within a program. Okay, simple decisions. Yeah, nothing too complex. No artificial intelligence. Just simple decisions regarding variables. Okay, the if function compares the value of some variable to another specific value, and well, it will make a decision based on that comparison. Okay, so that is basically what the if function does. So let's jump right into the example. For this example, I'll be using this software called PSEINT. You can download it. It's free. Um, it's in Spanish, so I mean, I don't think you guys should have any problem. If there's any problems, I can make a tutorial on how to install it, but it should be pretty straightforward. Okay, so let's just jump right in. The problem says that I want to create a flow chart of a program that gives me the American grade of a paper. Okay, remember that in the U.S., for some reason they grade work by in alphabetical characters. So A, B, C, D, and F represent a certain grade. So our translation would be if my grade falls between 100 and 90 inclusive. So remember, this is inclusive. What I mean by inclusive, look at the signs. It says greater than or equal to. So if my grade is 90, it's inclusive in this part right here. So if it's 90, I will be giving an A. Grade B starts from 90, but exclusive, right? Because it's only greater than the grade, okay? So if my grade is 90, it is not smaller than 90, right? 90 is not smaller than 90. Therefore, this is not true. The grade will be up here because the grade is larger or equal to 90. Okay? So these are basically the different scales. So from 100 to 90, you got an A. From 89 to 80, you get a B. From 79 to 70, you get a C. From 69 to 60, you get a D. And 60 and below, you get an F. Okay, so let's just do the example. First things first, we need to identify identify the variables that we will use. Okay, so the first variable, I think the only variable that we need to use right now is the grade, right? That's the only thing that the program needs, and it's the only thing that we can give it, right? I mean, it's a very simple program. It takes one grade, and it shows. So this is the input. Input. It's going to be the grade, and the output are going to be the alphabetical grades. Okay, so we basically only need to give the program a grade, a numerical grade. Okay, so this will be in integers. It's important to specify what type of data we're going to be giving the program. Um, and it's going to give us as an output some alphabetical grades, A, B, C, D, or F. So let's do the example right here. Let me start here, click here, and we get our flowchart editor. Okay, let me see if I can zoom out. Yeah, I can zoom out. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so remember that these two things, this will be by default on PC int on the program. Remember that this symbol marks the start of my algorithm, and this symbol states the finish of my algorithm. So let's just name this as grading, American grading. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do here is to give, well, remember that we've been working with establishing what type of data we are going to be working with. Well, in this case, we won't need to do that directly. We won't need to do that, sorry. We can just directly give the program data. Okay, so we'll be using this symbol right here. Remember the slanted rectangle that indicates input or output. In this specific case, look at the arrow here. This arrow is indicating output, and this arrow going in indicates input. So we need to give the program our input. Okay, so let's drag this and put it right here, and let's call this G. Okay, G will stand for grade. This is the value, this is the name of my variable. My variable name will be G, okay, which is grade. You can also name it grade if you want. You could name it 1, you could name it 3, you could name it whatever you want, okay? But to make it simple, we'll just name it G. Okay, so at this point, the program, we're only giving it a value. Now we need to have the program work with that value. So we can just directly, it doesn't need to do any calculations at this point because it's not going to be modifying this value right here. The only thing that the program will be doing is checking in what category does G stand. So if it's between 190, it's going to give us an A. If it's between 89 and 80, it's going to give us a B, and so on and so forth. Okay, so, oh, sorry, where is it? There we go. Okay, so we can just jump right into making decisions. This symbol right here, remember the little diamond is the one that's going to be giving us decisions. Okay, so we just drag this, and it's a little bit awkward, uh, but you'll get the hang of it. So first thing that we need to check if the grade is between 100 and 90. How can we do this in a more simple manner? Well, we can just simply ask if G is greater or equal to 90. Okay? If it's greater or equal to 90, then it's within this category, right? If it's greater or equal to 90, it's within that category. So if the statement is true, then we need to print out, there we go, we need to print out, I'll put this in, your grade is A. Okay, so if our grade is greater than 90, then our program simply checks this and sees, oh, it's greater than 90, then true, your grade is 90, and we're at the end of the algorithm. But what happens if this is false? What happens if my grade is below 90? So then we need to do another check. So we drag this and put it not there. Here, let's see. Come on. Okay, there you go. See, I'm telling you, it's a bit awkward to put the different parts here, but it's okay, I guess. So now we know that our grade is not greater than 90. Our next step would be to check if it's greater than 80, right? If it's greater than 8, if it's not greater than 90, then it's not A anymore. But it could be B, C, D, or F. So let's look at the next step in our ladder, and we would check if it's B. So to check if it's B, we would only need to check if it's greater than 80. So is G greater or equal to 80? If it's true, then come on, there you go. Then we would print out your grade is B. Okay, and that would be the end of it, right? So it turns out to be true, and we're done. But what happens if it's not true? Then we would be checking if it's greater than 70. So if it's false, we would need to check, is G, our grade, greater or equal to 70? If it is true, then, come on, okay, there you go. Then we would say your grade is C. Okay, And if it turns out to be true, then we would be at the end of our algorithm. But what happens if it's not true? We're still missing a couple grades. So we would check again if our grade is greater or equal to 60. If that turns out to be true, we can clearly state that your grade is D. Okay, so we're basically about to finish our code, okay, our flowchart. Let's check what we are doing, and we'll figure out what we can put here, okay? Before we do that, let's see what we've done already. So remember, we have to create a program, a flowchart that gives me the American grade of a paper. We're giving the program our variable g, which is the grade in numerical, in integers, okay? We're defining that as a data type. We're giving the program integers, and the first thing the program does is to check whether that grade is greater than 90. If it's greater than 90, then we can conclude that the grade is an A. Why did I start from here and not from the bottom? Well, because, for example, if I would have stated here grade is greater than 60, then it could be definitely not D, but it could be C, B, or A. That's why I didn't start there. I started with A because the only answer to the question is grade greater than 90. The only answer to that question, if it turns out to be true, is A, right? I'm gonna repeat myself. If I would have started with greater than 60, if the answer to that question would have been yes, then I could have been at C, B, or A, and I don't want that. So that's why I started with this top category. So if grade is greater than 90, your grade would be A, nothing else. If it's not greater than 90, then it can be either one of these categories, B, C, D, or F. So I check. So false, I go and check. If it's greater than 80, if it's greater than 80, it could have been these two categories. But since I already checked for A, the only answer would be B. Okay, so if it's true, my grade would be B. If it's false, it could be these three categories. Okay, so I go down false. So now I check, is grade greater than 70? If it's greater than 70, it could be either of these three categories. But since I already checked for A and I already checked for B, then the logical answer that I'm left with is C. So if it's greater than 70, then my grade would be C, and I'm finished. Finally, I check for 60. Okay, if it's not greater than 70, I go to the next step. I check if it's greater than 60. If it's greater than 60, it could be either these four categories. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But since I already checked for A, for B, and for C, then if this question is true, grade greater than 60, the only answer would be D. Okay, your grade is D. But let's look at it at the other way. If this turns out to be false, then the only logical answer, if it's not D, C, B, or A, if it's not either one of these four, then the logical answer must be, doesn't matter what grade it is, uh, your grade is F. I don't have to check anymore, right? Because of logic, if it's greater than 90, then it's A. If it's greater than 80, then it's a B. If it's greater than 70, it's a C. If it's greater than 60, you get a D. But if it's not greater than 60, I don't care in what interval you are anymore. But since it's not greater than C, then automatically your grade is an F. And that is basically it. We're done with this algorithm, okay? So the thing about this program is that it compiles this algorithm, okay, and it helps you test it. So I think we can put play here. Wait, se espera el fin de la línea. Okay, so I don't know what this is. Okay, so before I test it, I'm gonna make another video of us testing this thing because I need to figure out how to do it first. But this is in essence what if is. Okay, so thank you for watching. I'll upload another video of us testing this thing, and I'll upload another if example. Okay, so see you on class.